Hey everyone, Fossil here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking you to one of the most unique, liberating, and naturally beautiful spots in the Caribbean. Talking about Orient Bay Clothing Optional Beach. It's located on the French side of St. Martin. Back in the day, this area was more or less defined by the clothing optional resort Club Orient. Club Orient was a special kind of place nestled on the southern end of the Orient Bay. It was one of the most famous, all-encompassing clothing optional resorts in the world. You could come here to the resort, get your nude on, and pretty much spend every waking moment au naturel, just yards away from Orient Beach. This place was a true gem and was very popular with its clubhouse and its bungalows and pretty much everything you might need all in one stop. Sadly, this came to an end after Hurricane Irma in 2017 destroyed the resort, leaving only a skeleton of its former glory. The clubhouse is gone and the wrecked concrete bungalows stand as silent monuments to the once great atmosphere of this place. Rebuilding has been thwarted by issues between two governments, insurance companies, and foreign ownership. Maybe someday Club Orient will make a comeback, but for now, nothing visually tangible is happening on the rebuilding effort. But while Club Orient's facilities are gone, the experience lives on. There are still plenty of amenities nearby, bars, restaurants, water sports, and the atmosphere just as relaxed and welcoming. If you're looking to reconnect with nature, yourself, or a partner, this place offers something beautifully simple. No judgment, no stress, just sunshine, salt air, and serenity. The clothing optional beach is still open and continues to welcome open-minded travelers from around the globe. And just so you know, the beach isn't a wild party scene. It is more like European, more relaxed. Nudity here is normal, not naughty. It's about body freedom, respect, and enjoying nature just as you are. There's no pressure here. Whether you want to go fully nude or stay in your swimsuit, it's all about comfort and respect. An interesting story. As I sat in my beach chair, there was a couple of couples that were in their 50s and they were walking down the beach and trying to get down to the far southern end of the clothing optional beach portion. You know, pretty much away from everyone. They caught my eye because they looked so uncomfortable walking, you know, through the area, and they were kind of huddled close, I guess for protection, I don't know. Well, once in the water, they formed up into a little square, you know, two across from each other, you know, kind of like circling the wagons at an old Western. I saw them whispering and giggling, and one of the ladies is finally kind of removed her top, you know, being very careful not to get above the water line. Then they all just gleefully continued the giggling and the laughing, you know, like school kids. She stayed there for a few minutes, then put her top back up. They talked and giggled some more, and then they all got up together and walked out of the water and returned back up to the normal beach. You know, making sure to have no eye contact with anybody on the way. But I will say, it reminded me of my first experience at a nude resort. I'm impressed that the lady made a brave and fun decision. Kind of her first step, if you will. I hope it goes down as a positive memory for her. So anyway, come as you are, maybe a little bit freer, and remember, no photos without consent. Keep your towel handy and just be chill. Orient Beach is divided into zones. The southern part, you know, that we've been talking about, closest to the former Club Orient, is where clothing optional sunbathing is most common. The northern part of the beach is a bit more traditional, you know, things like bikinis, swim trunks, you know, that sort of thing. It's a very easy walk or a drive down from the north beachfront to get to the clothing optional area. And you can make stops on the way to enjoy a drink or a meal or do some shopping. There is a gate blocking the vehicle path once you get down to the clothing optional area, but all that's required is you to tell them that you've either been before or that you kind of know what to expect, and you'll be granted entry. This gate leads to the parking area of the Perch restaurant, but we'll talk more about that a little later. I guess the gate is there to keep the surprise factor low and possibly, you know, keep some of the gawkers out. There is, however, no obstruction of any kind to walk down the beach right straight into the area. There is another road that comes out more to the south side of the beach area, but I don't recommend it. It is a rough and rippled dirt road that might test your driving skills as well as your vehicle's suspension. It made the dirt roads of the rural area I grew up feel like a superhighway. There are a number of bars and restaurants close by so you can satisfy your taste, whether that might be French cuisine, seafood, or Italian. The eateries are excellent. but the meals themselves are not cheap, with a rough average, at least for me, of around 39 euros per meal. Your mileage may vary. And speaking of currency, euros are the accepted flavor down here, or you can use your credit card and take care of the conversion without having to go to a money changer. The bars range from quiet getaways to high-energy dance machines. You can find whichever suits you and nestle up to the bar and just have a good time. The Perch that we mentioned earlier, it's one of the bars just off of the clothing optional area of Orient Beach, where many of the Club O regulars probably still gather. You know, the spirit of Club Orient is very much alive even though the place is gone. People come here for sun, sand, and a sense of freedom that you just can't find everywhere. There is a daily 2-hour-long happy hour where you can get 2-for-1 drinks. They ring a bell on the beach, you know, to announce when the event has started, and people flock in to get in line for their refreshments. The food and the drinks at the Perch were excellent, and it was a nice shady getaway to take a break, you know, from the beach. And speaking of shade, there is a vendor here that will rent you beach lounge chairs and umbrellas for about 30 euros a day, so you can relax and escape the sun, you know, if you so choose. The sun can be intense, but with the umbrella and a breeze off the water, this is a very comfortable way, you know, to spend the day. And if you want to work on your tan, just put a towel down, you know, or just drag your chair out from under the shade of the umbrella into the sun. During my visit, there was a lot of seaweed that had drifted in and collected on the beach. This looked a lot like sargasso weed, but I'm not a botanist, so I don't know. It would pile to a foot or more in height down the beach, making a bit of an obstacle to reach the water. I was told not to step directly into the piles of seaweed, as there was a lot of insects there that might hitch a ride as well as, you know, a meal on you, literally. It was not difficult to step over this rampart of brown and green, so I never really had a problem with that. It just wasn't that pretty. While out in the water, there could be small and large collections of this weed kind of floating around in little colonies that might wrap around you, you know, kind of say hi on occasion. It was more of an inconvenience than anything else. I don't know if this is a constant problem or it just happened due to weather during my stay. Oh, I did have an interesting experience though when I was swimming, where I accidentally stepped on an electric skate and received a bit of a shock to my foot. It was not terribly painful, but it fulfilled its purpose of making me want to get off of its head rather quickly. In an earlier life, I was an electrician, and the experience was the same as getting shocked, which was kind of weird being in the water like that. So strange and unexpected. Water shoes would go a long way to cover you in such situations. I just chalked it up to another life experience that makes a good story. If you ever find yourself in St. Martin, don't miss the chance to experience Orient Beach. And remember, life's better when you're comfortable in your own skin, you know, literally and figuratively. I would like to take the pause and take this opportunity to invite you to like and subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing more than a few mouse clicks, and it helps the channel greatly. So, if you're looking for a slice of freedom in the Caribbean with a side of elegance and plenty of sunshine, Orient Nude Beach might just be your perfect escape. So to recap, St. Martin's Orient Beach. Come as you are and leave in freer.